The paper, Psych 2012 and DEP 2004. I will be going over 5 things in this very brief slideshow. 1, the basics of the paper that you're completing in my class. 2, I'll tell a story titled The Late Paper Scenario. 3, I'll give you some pointers on how to get additional help. 4, I'll go over the rubric. And 5, I'm sharing a bonus TED Talk that I enjoyed and I thought you might enjoy also. The basics. See Canvas for your specific due date. This assignment is worth 50 points. You have up to 3 days after the due date to turn it in with a late penalty of 10% for each day the assignment is turned in late. Also note that the assignment needs to be turned in via Canvas in the Assignments tab. Do not email me your assignment. I literally have hundreds of emails and I don't accept assignments via email. This story was brought to you from OnCourse and is titled The Late Paper Scenario. You're going to hear about 6 different people, and I want you to decide who was most responsible for Kim's failing grade in her Psych 101 class. Rank the characters in the story, giving each character a different score. 1 being most responsible, 6 being least responsible. The characters are Professor Freud, the instructor, Kim, the psychology student, Arnold, Kim's husband, Philip, Arnold's co-worker, Cindy, Kim's classmate, and Mary, the administrative assistant. Professor Freud announced in her syllabus for Psych 101 that final term papers had to be in her hands by noon December 18th. No student, she emphasized, would pass the course without a completed term paper turned in on time. As the semester drew to a close, Kim had an A average in Professor Freud's psychology class, and she began researching her term paper with excitement. Arnold, Kim's husband, felt threatened that he had only a high school diploma while his wife was getting close to her college degree. Arnold worked the evening shift at a bakery, and his coworker Philip began teasing him that Kim would soon dump Arnold for a college guy. That's when Arnold started accusing Kim of having an affair and demanding she drop out of college. She told Arnold he was being ridiculous. In fact, she said, a young man in her history class had asked her out, but she refused. Instead of feeling better, Arnold became more angry. With Philip continuing to provoke him, Arnold became sure Kim was having an affair, and he began telling her every day that she was stupid and would never get a degree. Despite the tension at home, Kim finished her psychology term paper the day before it was due. Since Arnold had hidden the car keys and Professor Freud refused to accept assignments sent by email, Kim decided to take the bus to the college and turn in her psychology paper a day early. While she was waiting for the bus, Cindy, one of Kim's psychology classmates, drove up and invited Kim to join her and some other students for an end of the semester celebration. Kim told Cindy she was on her way to turn in her term paper, and Cindy promised she'd make sure Kim got it in on time. I deserve some fun, Kim decided and hopped in the car. The celebration went long into the night. Kim kept asking Cindy to take her home, but Cindy always replied, "Don't be such a bore. Have another drink." When Cindy finally took Kim home, it was 4:30 in the morning. She sighed in relief when she found that Arnold had already fallen asleep. When Kim woke up, it was 11:30 a.m., just 30 minutes before her term paper was due. She could make it to the college in time by car, so she shook Arnold and begged him to drive her. He just snapped, "Oh, sure. You stay out all night with your college friends, then I'm supposed to get up on my day off and drive you all over town? Forget it." "At least give me the car keys," she said, but Arnold merely rolled over and went back to sleep. Panicked, Kim called Professor Freud's office and told Mary, the administrative assistant, that she was having car trouble. "Don't worry," Mary assured Kim. "I'm sure Professor Freud won't care if your paper's a little late. Just be sure to have it here before she leaves at 1 o'clock. Relieved, Kim decided not to wake Arnold again. Instead, she took the bus. At 12:15, Kim walked into Professor Freud's office with her term paper. Professor Freud said, "Sorry, Kim, you're 15 minutes late." She refused to accept Kim's term paper and gave Kim an F for the course. Now that you've heard this story, I want you to do what I asked in the beginning. Please decide who was most responsible for Kim's failing grade in her Psych 101 class. Rank these characters for 1 being most responsible and 6 being least responsible. Think about your choices. Why did you rank the characters that way? And if you want to dig a little deeper, is there someone not mentioned in the story who may also bear responsibility for Kim's failing grade? Need help? Okay, on this slide I'm giving you some pointers. Remember, you've already done the heavy lifting in P1, P2, and P3. P1, you identified a broad topic that you were somewhat interested in that was related to our course. Then you narrowed the topic and identified your biases and developed a research question. Finally, you came up with a working title. In P2, you found resources. So you actually went out and found sources to help you gather data about your topic. This might have also allowed you to fine-tune your topic. In P3, you provided an outline or an overview of the entire project. So you've already done most of the hard work. Now in P4, you're simply pulling it all together and writing a paper. Now I've included a module in both the DEP 2004 and Psych 2012 class, and the module is dedicated to helping you become a more effective and efficient writer. Writing is a skill that will take you far in life, so this is a good time to practice. This is not an English class, so I'm not super picky, but I do want you to be able to clearly communicate your ideas. The last pointer I want to give you is that we have a Learning Resource Center that has tons of additional resources. So you can contact a librarian or even access the Writing Center's website and get more help on how to become a better writer. All right, the rubric. So you're fortunate because if you have a rubric, you already have the criteria of how you're going to be graded. So it's to your advantage to use this rubric, okay? Now on the slide, I've included some information. If you click on the assignment, the rubric is also listed there. I suggest looking at the rubric prior to writing the paper, and again during writing the paper, and it finally again right before you turn in the final draft. Okay, so you're going to be graded on how thoroughly you discuss your topic. I'm looking to see, do you have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion? And in that introduction, you want to make sure you preview the topic. Let me know what to expect. You say what you're going to say. In the body, you're going to say it. And then in the conclusion, you say what you said. You can think of it as an appetizer, a main course, and a dessert. All right, so you'll get 20 points for that. Next is correct, and you're going to earn 10 points if the information you provide is accurate. So how will I know if it's accurate? One, you're doing a topic on something related to psychology, so I might know a little bit about the topic, but the other way I'm going to check for accuracy is I'm going to look at your sources. If you're using reliable, valid resources, then I'm going to trust the information from those sources more than if you're using, say, Wikipedia, right? So you need to have in-text citations throughout your paper. And this is simply saying, after you paraphrase some information, this is where you got the source. All right, next is clarity. Okay, so we're up to 40 points. How clear is your paper? I strongly encourage you to use headings. Okay, headings are a great way to organize the information when you have lots of information that you're sharing. If you use headings, it gives structure. All right, so in addition to structure, I'm looking at the flow. So is your paper logical and easy to understand, or is it all over the place? All right, creativity is our next grading criteria. You're going to get 5 points for producing a paper that is original and it shows some imagination. And also I'm looking to see if this is a personalized paper. You don't want to have a paper that's filled with quotes. I love quotes. Personally, I'm a quote junkie. But when it comes to writing a paper, especially academic paper, you want to minimize the amount of quotes that you have in the paper. Last but not least is the overall impression. This is your chance to wow me. Okay, so when I first open up your paper, do I see that you have a lot of errors on it, or is it, stunning? The word choice and the word arrangement matter, and your use of examples and explanations are ways to wow me. But the first and final impression. So altogether, that's a total of 50 points. Here's some quick tips that are listed on the slide. One, you definitely want to have a properly formatted cover page and reference page. So on your cover page, you need to have your title. You don't need to include the assignment, P4 or anything like that. Just include the title, and your title should be descriptive and informative. You want to have your name, and you want to have the name of the institution where you're completing this assignment. If you decide to have a running head, that's optional, but if you decide to have a running head, don't leave the phrase shortened up at the top. Polish up your finished product, okay? On your reference page, use APA style, okay? Don't put works cited. Don't put bibliography. Put references. The references should also be alphabetized. All right, next, use APA style. And I understand that we are in a general psychology class or a human growth and development class, and you're not expected to be 100% on point, but you should have the basics down. So it should be 12-point font, Times New Roman, double space for the entire document, 1-inch margins, you have in-text citations, and you have a reference page. You want to do those things. Third, have an attention grabber in your introduction. Okay, start off with a quote or a joke or a story or a statistic or a question, something to pull the reader in. And then in your zinger, in your conclusion, have a zinger. All right, the fourth quick tip is that the title should be descriptive and informative. The title is my first interaction with you and your research. Okay, so the title should let me know what the paper is going to be about, but it should also be kind of catchy. 5, support your point of view with facts. Don't just ramble on about what you think and what you feel. Don't do that. This is a research paper. It's not as formal as a scholarly paper that you're submitting to a journal, but you are expected to rely on your resources for the bulk of your information. With that said, you're not just regurgitating facts. You're also synthesizing information, so pulling it together, you're analyzing it, and you're sharing your interpretation. All right, so 6 goes with 5. You want to provide as many examples and explanations as possible. Think of it as making a case. We said that we were comparing this to it like a dish, with the appetizer, the main course, and the dessert. You want your dishes to be well seasoned, right? You want it to have some pizzazz, to taste good. All right, 7, remain within the page limit. I know 2 to 4 pages is not a lot. But remember, that doesn't include your cover page or your reference page, so that's just solid information that you're sharing. So if you go to 5 pages, that's probably not a big deal. If you have just 2 pages, that's fine too. What you don't want is to have 1 page and a half or have 7 pages. That's not good. And I know you might be thinking, well, I was really interested in my topic and I just couldn't limit it. No, I really love psychology. I can't just keep you in this class for the whole year. I have to limit our discussions to our 16 weeks, right? So that's what you're doing in your paper. You're going to decide what information is the most important, what's the most salient, and you're going to use that information when you're writing your paper. You don't want to ramble or be redundant, because that could also take up unnecessary space. All right, number 8, proofread. I understand that grammar and mechanics can be like, annoying. Listen to how I'm talking when I'm doing this this short video. I'm not using proper English per se, but when I'm writing for my classes as a doctoral student, I transform. And the same should be true for you. In an academic setting, when you're writing a paper, don't write as if you're texting. Don't use lowercase I. Don't use slang or jargon. Be somewhat more formal, okay? But don't be so formal that it's clear it's not your voice, all right? So proofread to find and fix grammatical and mechanical errors and be mindful of tone. All right, number 9 is turn the assignment in on time in the correct format. I have had people submit pages instead of DOC or DOCX. I've had people send me like a URL link. That's not going to work, okay? This assignment is due in either as a Word document or a PDF, and it needs to be uploaded in the appropriate area. If I want to make a purchase from Target, I have to go to the register with cash or a card and turn it in. I can't say, oh, I want to use Frank's here, and I'm going to pay over here in the shoe section. No, you need to get on board, okay? Last but not least, use the rubric. Just check back at the rubric and make sure you're checking all those boxes, because that's exactly how I'm going to grade you. I'm going to use the rubric. It'll be side by side with your paper in the rubric, and that's how you'll earn points. Remember, if you have questions, there's a questions thread in every class, and you can post a question to the questions thread. Your classmates may then respond, and I check the questions thread usually like once a day. I don't really check it on the weekends per se, but I definitely check it during the week. If I notice there's not a lot of people posting, I might skip a day or two, but I check that questions thread. So it's a really good way to ask a question and get your answer. If you need to email me, that's fine too. As promised, we're going to finish out with the bonus. This TED Talk is by Lydia, and the title is The Beauty of Being a Misfit. She's a writer, and I think her words are inspirational, so I wanted to share it with you.